But going into the NFC East and a couple of little snack-sized duo of coaches, I feel like these two should always be paired together. But Mike McCarthy and Nick Sirianni, who do you want to start with here? As a couple of NFC East coaches that kind of feel hot seedy, very hot seedy, I should say. Yeah, very hot seat. But yeah, where do you want to start with these NFC East duo of coaches?
Let's talk Sirianni first, just because Frank Schwab came on my show a couple of weeks ago, months ago. Who knows what time is at this point?
It's whatever, off season.
Yeah, at some point during the off season, and basically said that the Eagles could either win the Super Bowl or the head coach could be fired by Thanksgiving, and neither one of them would surprise him. And I felt like that was just such a good way to set this Eagles season, because yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about at some point like what this offense could be under Kellen Moore, but like that was two caveats there: at some point and could be. That just shows you some of the volatility there. While I love that the receiver usage and how that's going to work, I love that Johnny Wilson is getting first team reps as the outside receiver, because not even like, again, what Johnny Wilson is going to do. I do think he is a fascinating player because everybody wanted to move him to tight end, but all he did was run ISO routes on the line of scrimmage against press man coverage at Florida State, and was on a per route basis actually more productive than Keon Coleman at FSU.
I came around on him hard on Wilson so much. I ended up being like, I gave him a 3rd round grade, I think.
Oh, wow.
I actually was like arrow pointing up because it's just, he won on real routes.
Totally.
Like he was winning on in breakers and stuff and sinking. And I really came around on him. So yeah, he's just there's not a lot of guys that look like that.
No. I think that's what Howie Roseman said when they drafted him, that he is a unique player. And like in the 6th round, when you have a unique player like that, you just go ahead and take him.
I love that quote.
You know, can he catch? Got to figure that out. Definitely had some ball skill issues.
Might be some Jordan Travis throwing at us kneecaps a little too many times.
Yeah, 100%. So I just think that's actually going to open up a lot for A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith to do the fun Kellen Moore receiver stuff when you're moving into the slot, the pre-snap motion, stuff like that. It sounds like Devonta Smith is going to be their leading slot receiver, which from a per target basis, per route basis, he's actually been more efficient out of the slot. I think we can maximize him after kind of a down year for Devonta Smith. A.J. Brown's always going to be A.J. Brown. It's just, can the quarterback get this done in this style of offense, which is very different than what we've seen with Jalen Hurts previously. And again, I think a lot of that even if Nick Sirianni seems to be giving up some control in the offense, and maybe rightfully so, I still think his ass will be on the line basically with this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, once you get rid of both coordinators, it's like next envelope has the head coach's name on it. Like that's just how it goes up when you're just firing through the firing line, especially passing the blame off. It's always going to be Howie Roseman's kind of thing. So Sirianni kind of feels next. But I agree with you. I could actually even say this is Sirianni's, kind of like what we did with the Steelers. It's Sirianni, me a little bit. It is Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts and Cam Jurgens. Like it's just it's all the center. So it's all these guys in a row. And I don't want to say I kept them off my top 10 offense. And I said, though, if they make it up there, I totally get it because they have so many good pieces and so many good players. I just have to see it, too, because this is a totally different operation than Hurts has done before, both just play caller and center wise. And Sirianni is supposed to be an offensive guy. And I know he's more in a CEO role right now. But, one of the reporters kind of asked him, like, kind of, what are you doing here? Like, kind of, what would you say your role here is? And, is that fair or not? Some head coaches, their CEOs don't get that question, but it's Philly, and that's just kind of how the makeup's been. So I'm right there with you. The Eagles are just a fascinating team to me. They could be as high as any team on offense and even on defense too. But I could also see the bottom falling out, just as maybe not just as likely, but just kind of the same thing. But going on over to the NFC East, staying on over in the NFC East, I should say. Mike McCarthy. Where are you at with the Cowboys? So how much of this is prove it everybody? Jerry Jones and your negotiating tactics as well. This should be prove it here as well.
Yeah, everybody's on a prove it year here. Mike McCarthy proved that you should have kept this job. Dak Prescott, obviously, I don't know what he has to prove. Like he's just Dak. Like he's going to prove himself to be Dak, and people are going to have takes about that and whatever. He's going to go into free agency and he's going to get a lot of money if the Cowboys don't want to retain him. So I don't really know what he has to prove other than just don't completely bottom out this year. But that is, I think, what's interesting about Dallas in general is just they're changing over on defense. Is that going to take some time? And if that unit takes a step back I just feel like this offense has taken a step back this year, man. Like we didn't put the Cowboys in our top 10 offenses, and I was surprised at how pissed Cowboys fans were about that when you spent the last 3 months complaining that the team didn't get any better on offense and probably got worse. We're counting on a mismatch of running backs. We're counting on Jalen Tolbert to really step up here. So there's definitely a lot of prove it on the offensive side of the ball for this team. That is for sure.
Yeah, they have a potential project tackle starting on the left side who Guyton has traits and everything. I was a little lower on because it's one of those, like, he has traits. I got to see it more. But he was a right tackle only in college, now playing left tackle. That's always a little woo, woo, woo. It worked out for Tyron Smith 15 years ago, though. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if Guyton is to the level of Tyron Smith, even if he is very athletic. They also have a brand new center. Which is interesting. Dak Prescott does a lot to help out the offensive line and point them in the right direction, and it kind of has a trump card on things. But that's still something new. Like that's still, and it's not a guy with maybe Cam Jurgens' draft pedigree that they have in Philadelphia. This is a street free agent. Yes, they drafted Cooper Beebe. He wasn't a center before. He's training at it now. That's still a rookie, potentially day 2 guy starting at center. I like, of course, I love Zach Martin and all that. I love Tyler Smith. I think he's a star. Love Dak, of course. I love the tight ends. Ferguson's very, very good. But you have Zeke back. Okay. Brandon Cooks is fine now these days, but I don't know. He's a true number 2. He's more like a nice number 3. Okay. It's just a lot more question marks. And I got more optimistic about the defense, even if they have holes there. But season, they just felt like they ran it back out. And really, it was more like, no, you guys need to add. You need to splash. You need a little bit more here, and it felt like more. They're like, "Oh no, we're good enough here. We're the Cowboys. We're okay." So, kind of prove it, prove all of this because, of course, McCarthy's contract situation kind of states that, anyways. But and Dax and everybody, but yeah, just the whole Cowboys regime and negotiating process and team building aspects and everything in Jerry World right now. Yeah, prove it.